What's going on, everyone? This is your Astrology Horoscope for Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. I'm astrologer Alex Skyles, and welcome to the Moon Base. Hope you guys are having a great week, a great start to the week. We're in a balsamic moon phase. Moon's in Sag, right before this new moon in Capricorn. So, we're starting to feel this kind of, it's a resting period. It's a letting go period, right? It's a dying off period. It's when things get a little bit more internal on an emotional level. So this is when we tend to go inward right before this new moon. Old things are dying. Old patterns are starting to die. This is the last day of this Mercury square Neptune, and I think that's the biggest theme for today, is this Mercury still coming off this square to Neptune, because yesterday was exact, but I think today it's activating more so, because it's happened 3 times, so this is the 3rd time. And with the moon conjuncting Mercury at 25 degrees, squaring Neptune and Pisces at 25 degrees. I think today is when we're really feeling this Mercury square Neptune at a deep, deep level. And we're in the balsamic moon, so it's like very deep emotions. It's in a darker phase, and it's like we're ready to kill off like all this confusion and this fog, and we're ready to just start seeing the physical reality of things. And it's been very difficult to get to that place. Mars and Saturn are still supporting each other. Mars is gonna, make an exact sextile at 4 degrees, and we still got a couple days of this energy. I mean, really throughout the week. But this is the moment where it's like, this is the climax of this Mercury still in shadow out of retrograde, square Neptune with the moon here right before the new moon. Venus is in Sagittarius, so this is the ending of all this Sagittarius stuff before we really go full into Capricorn. And yeah, this is this kind of energy where it's like, it's like things are coming up. It's like, man, I've been misleading myself. I've felt misled emotionally. I thought things were one way, and it's actually turning out to be another way. And, but on the other hand, it's like, things that have been postponed, it's like, or delayed. You're starting to get the bigger picture here. You're starting to get the reality of where things have just been unclear, and we've been waiting for this moment for over a month now to really get some clarity on things. The fog is starting to lift. Finally, it's been a very slow process through the past week or so since Mercury's gone direct, but it's still in shadow. It's not going to be out of shadow till it gets to 8 degrees Capricorn. So, we still got a moment here, but at least it's moved to a few degrees, 3 degrees since it's been direct. So emotionally, it's like, damn, my beliefs have really kind of been challenged through this Mercury retrograde. And today it's like we're feeling that on a very deep emotional level. It's like, man, I really should have been more honest with the situation, and it's like, we thought the outcome was going to be a certain way, but with Neptune, it's like, it's going to be what it was supposed to be. It was going to be what it was meant to be. And, and always a divine way. We're not in control of everything. Capricorn season, it's like we're taking more control, and we're having a much more solid grasp on things. And definitely after today, it's like we're going to really start having a much more solid grasp on reality. But there's a lot of Venus stuff that we're about to go into, with Uranus making a very odd angle to the South Node, and Venus is also going to make an odd angle to the South Node and Uranus. Or Venus will sextile the South Node, but it's going to make a odd in conjunction to Uranus. So it's like there's a lot of very strange things that, that aren't necessarily pretty. We don't want to get caught up in just like, hey, I got to make this perfect and it's got to be a certain way. It's going to be what it's supposed to be. And that's what Sagittarius and Pisces kind of have in common to me as mutable signs. It's like you got to let the beauty and the art of things kind of take shape themselves, and we can't really control how we want it to be or how we want it to look like. And that's what this Mercury square Neptune is also teaching us too. It's like, it's not always going to be what you think it's going to look like. It's going to take shape in a divine way of what it's supposed to be. And we can mislead ourselves whenever we get caught up in trying to mentally make it the way we want it to be. We think it's going to be this way, and we get let down. You let yourself down whenever you think that we have power over the divine. And with Neptune and Pisces and Saturn and Pisces, this is where we are surrendering. It helps in this moment, especially in this balsamic moon, to surrender, and we want to really make big adjustments to our beliefs. And with this Mercury and Sag as well, it's like that's where our minds are being challenged, is being able to make adjustments and make moves towards a different path of how we learn, how we speak about the things that we learn, the things that we want to learn, the things that we want to share. Like, this is the moment where that has been challenged a lot. And this is the last time. This is the last time that we're going through this, and the moon is definitely highlighting this in a very, very big way. And on top of that, with Mars and Saturn, it's like, the more we can make adjustments, the more we can make things solid. And the more we can let things take shape in a divine way, the more solid things can become and what they're supposed to be. And this is where Capricorn and Pisces really work well together. It's like, as Capricorn wants to be in the reality and create its own reality and shape its reality, Pisces helps that in a divine way, on a level of purpose and being connected to Source or God or whatever you want to call it. It's like, we've learned so much going through that. I think this Mercury retrograde has been a big, big lesson. And we've learned so much about how we need to shift and move as new information comes at us, and being willing to adapt to new beliefs and ideas, because there's so much that's coming to the surface. And we're gearing up for this new moon here. So it's definitely a day where we have to allow ourselves to adjust. Because if we don't, with this moon here in the balsamic phase conjuncting Mercury square Neptune, it's like things can get a little out of control. Things can get quite slippery. It's like fire and ice. We don't want to let the emotions kind of overcome our mental stability, which can be very hard with Mercury square Neptune. And at the same time, it's like, this is when some of the weirdest shit pops up. Like, like real odd stuff, like some of the greatest deceptions come out with Mercury square Neptune, like, and I don't want to get like too dark and negative here, but it's like, a lot of people with Mercury square Neptune in their chart, have to really learn how to be honest in their lives, right? It's a difficult aspect to have in your chart. Mercury square Neptune. It's like, it's easy to try to get away with things, and it's like in Capricorn season, it's like we're not getting away with shit. It's like we have to abide by the physical laws of reality. It's like, so we don't want to get caught up in other people's manipulation or deceptions, or we don't want to allow ourselves to deceive ourselves. And today's the day. If we've been caught up in that, it's like it's gonna boil over with the moon here and being in its balsamic phase. It's like the moon is pretty much dark right now. Like we're not gonna see it until Wednesday, till tomorrow or Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday. So as we move into the new moon. And with relationships, I think a lot of it has to do with relationships as well, because Venus is in Sag. So the moon is Sag, Mercury is Sag, squaring Neptune. Venus is going to square Neptune here soon. We're going to get there. We're not going to get too far ahead here, but, I feel like looking at this chart, as Mercury makes its final square to Neptune with the moon, conjunct Mercury, in its balsamic phase before the new moon, and then Venus is going to be the last planet here in Sagittarius to square Neptune after this. It's like, I feel like what it's going to come down to is, where we've been fogged out and misled or deceived, or we've deceived ourselves in our relationships and our values, are getting caught up in just very quick, fast, kind of Venus-Sag relationship shit. It's like, I'm just gonna get involved in some weird quick scenario just for fun. That's what Venus and Sag wants to do. It just wants to do things here now, quick and fun, and not think about the consequences later. And with Neptune making a hard aspect to that, it's really easy to fall out of reality. So I think after we get out of this, Venus is gonna come and square Neptune, and it's gonna. I think the final conclusion of this Sagittarius, all these Sagittarius planets squaring Neptune, it's really gonna come down to what's been going on in our relationships. And I think things underneath the surface in our relationships, whether it's on you or a partner or a creative partner or a financial partnership, like there could be some funky stuff going on. So it's time to really get honest and clear about things, because sure, Mercury's coming off this last square here out of 3 times, but I don't think it's over with, because Venus still has to get past Neptune's, fog as well. So we're getting through it, and all this Capricorn energy is really helping us. Mars is really helping us. We just want to stay clear and not get too caught up in the emotions and the fog, and be as honest as we can. Like, this is a moment where, even we can deceive ourselves, even thinking that we're doing the right thing, or being honest, or even helping somebody, thinking that, I'm going to help this person and I'm doing the right thing. But really, it's like you're hurting yourself, and that kind of enabling issues. And I think that's going to come up with Uranus making an inconjunct to the South Node, and Venus also making an inconjunction to Uranus. It's like there's going to be a lot of that coming up when it comes down to the codependency or enabling. That's what the South Node is all about here. So it's like we want to be able to hold our own ground and hold our own value in relationships, so we can be the best versions that we can be for one another. And I'd say personally, like, I've experienced that a lot myself. I'm a Venus 12th house person. So it's like in relationships, I definitely have had to learn how to, not, give myself away too much or lean on others that I'm in a relationship with too much. It's like it's vice versa. It's the mutable signs in the 12th and the 9th and the 3rd house. They're in the 6th house. They're dual signs. They have dual natures to it. So it's you and the other, and it is like, usually these dual signs are, they tend to go both ways, and they give us multiple perspectives. Unlike the fixed signs, it's like the fixed signs is it's one way, a one-way track. Same with cardinal signs. We're going one direction. Of course, with the South Node in Libra, it's like, we tend to get caught up in multiple directions and don't know which way to go. So with this North Node in Aries, it's like the only way to really truly go to unfold our karmic destiny and our karmic purpose that's connected to the divine is to really follow our own intuition, and it is like tap into our own ego and be confident in our own ego. And ego doesn't necessarily mean arrogance. Like, I feel like that's a term with this Chiron in Aries where we have to define what confidence and ego truly is next to the word of arrogance, you know? And I feel like with the suppression of the self as we've been going through this Chiron and Aries, like a lot of external forces have been suppressing this very Aries ego type thing, especially with Pluto and Capricorn. You know, it's like it's been suppressing the identity of the individual. So it doesn't necessarily, confidence doesn't necessarily mean arrogance or any of that kind of shit. You know, it's like we have to be in touch with our ego more. And that's what the North Node is karmically wanting us to do, is to follow that direction. You know, the cardinal signs of where we're headed. And with this North Node, it's like we want to head first in Aries. You know, Aries rules the head. So we want to go head first into things and trust our instincts and trust our intuition. You know, when we're talking about the fire signs, like it's all about our intuition and trusting those instincts at a very primal level. Fire is primal. We get caught up in this South Node Libra. We're about to experience this over the next couple weeks, especially as Uranus comes direct, making a quincunx to the South Node. It's like we're going to be feeling this so much. It's like, damn, we're getting so caught up in all these different kinds of relationships and different scenarios and this and that. And it's like, we got to hold our value. Uranus and Taurus is knowing our value and knowing how to play the long game to see results. And with Jupiter here too, like we're going to see results. That's what's exciting. Is with Jupiter here, we know we're going to see some results. But we don't want to be getting caught up in too many things. And too many, like, you know, it's better to have a few things in the fire that are going to maximize than have a bunch of things that you're only going to see little results here and there, you know? So definitely today is one of those days where it's like the emotions can really be intense mentally. We don't want to lose our minds today. We don't want to get too crazy because we're definitely going to see some crazy shit in the world. I mean, we've seen it. If you go back to November 26th, you go back to when Mercury retrograded and squared Neptune again for the second time. And then today, this is the final pass of Mercury here, you know, and as Venus gets towards Neptune to square as well, I think what the message really is, with Mercury being the messenger of the sun, it's like the message is like, you know, in our relationships, is like, where have we been a little cloudy and not seeing things for what they are, you know, and not being realistic. And this is helping us to take a more realistic approach to things. And Saturn is also teaching us that, and Mars is helping a lot. And as we get into this new moon here in the next couple days, we're going to be really ready to really move forward here. So this is definitely a day where we don't want to allow ourselves to just go too far into the fog. So anyways, hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Find me on Instagram, on the TikTok. All these horoscopes are now uploaded to Spotify. So if you're on Spotify, please go to Spotify and listen there if you prefer that. I prefer Spotify myself because I like music. So, and most people who are on Spotify are music lovers. So, but yeah, if you want to book a reading, all the links are in the description below. Reach out to me, ask a question in the comments, leave a comment. Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys for the new moon in Capricorn. Peace out.